What is your standpoint on the not just college level but high school? Because you have kids.
Yeah, I do. I have two daughters, one in high school and one in college. But indeed, education is of critical importance to all of us as a whole community, because that's how people, realize their hopes and dreams. They realize them through education. That's how they get there. And if someone can realize their hopes and dreams, it not only helps that individual, but it helps the community at large. So that's a top issue for me, because it directly impacts on jobs. I mean, why does California tend to have a double-digit unemployment rate? That's twice the national average.
Why?
Well, because the conditions here foster it, and one of those conditions is education. Well, another condition is public safety. Another condition is our infrastructure.
I wanted to talk to you about public safety too. I think we're going to probably run out of time, but I'm sorry, go ahead about the education. Because I hear that rural crime is an issue too. And being that you're out there working with the farmers and interacting with them, I wanted to talk to you about that. But I don't want to distract you from the education.
Well, I mean, we need to address education, you're right, across the board, starting with universal pre-K. If you look at any kind of study on education, it'll tell you that pre-K is just necessary for the child. That's where they build the foundations for a child's entire education. So we need to get that. We need to focus on primary education, high school education, and of course, college education. Education doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? We have districts, some have a lot of money, some don't. Unfortunately, here in California 10, we have some poor school districts here, and we need to get them the resources they need. You hear all the time, the classrooms are overcrowded, the teachers are coming out of their own pocket for basic supplies. The parents having to fundraise for music and science. It shouldn't be that way. And we need to address student loans of higher education.
I know. I was reading something about that the other day, about how by the time the student pays back their loan, it's like 10 times the loan that they took out. What's up with that?
Well, if you're fortunate enough to go to college these days, if you work hard enough to graduate and you can afford that much student loan debt, that's what you're graduating with, basically, is a mortgage payment. Without a home, and that debt will follow you the whole way. We need to stop making so much money on these on kids' higher education with regard to the student loan rates. Those big banks that we bailed out, loaning them money at just a fraction of the rates. Why can't we apply that same student loan rates that we loan money to the big banks to these kids just trying to provide for our futures? Because that's the future of this country, are these kids getting an education.
Well, it seems like that's kind of making a deposit into our future by investing in our young people.
Well, again, it goes back to investment, and it goes back to why this unemployment rate is so bad, is because we have this problem with education. We have problems with crime, as you alluded to. Modesto has a 70% higher violent crime rate than the national average. It has a 60% higher property rate, crime rate, than the national average. It's just because the basic tax structure of the district can't afford basic public safeties. We need to invest in these public safety systems that work. And we also need to invest in infrastructure. The roads are so bad here. I have to straddle the yellow line just on the road where my farm is.
Yeah, you were talking about that the other day with having 6 instead of 7.
When we harvest the almonds, everyone's seen those big super carts or those big doubles trailers going down the road at harvest time. You're supposed to put 7 super carts of nuts inside each trailer. Well, I tell the guy operating the elevator, just put 6 in mine, because my farm's in Turlock and my huller's in Ripon, and I'm afraid that 7th cart of almonds is going to wind up on the ground if we put 7 in. So I tell them, just put 6, because the roads are so bad. I've hit potholes so bad in the district that I've knocked bees off the back of my truck. That old saying, you don't want to shake a hornet's nest?
Right.
Well, you don't want to shake a whole truckload of bees either. It's downright dangerous. And, just thank heaven there was no one behind me there.
Well, what does Congress have to do with education and infrastructure and public safety? How can you in Congress help us here in District 10?
Well, California is the Golden State. Well, maybe in the Bay Area and maybe down south. But people think we're the Golden State. So therefore, every dollar we pay in federal income tax, California only gets back 75 cents. So me being from California 10, I'm going to fight for that extra quarter. Because right now that extra quarter is going to the good folks, in Kentucky or Mississippi or Tennessee. Well, it's great to help those good folks there in Appalachia. But if you look at the numbers of here in California 10 and the Central Valley, you can compare us to Appalachia. If you look at poverty and housing and education and crime, we compare it. So it's great to help those good folks, but let's take care of our own people here in our home state before we start helping everyone else.
That's why we have you representatives there, because it's impossible for the whole constituency to go someplace and lobby or rally or talk to, or even get in to talk to anybody. So that's why we elect you, to speak for us. So
to fight for the people of the district you represent, instead of fighting for some special interest maybe in New York or Washington, D.C. I want to fight for the good people of California 10.